All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. My name is Aditya Bahadur, and I'm the director of the Red Cross Red Crescent Climate Center. And along with our partners that include the International Institute for Environment and Development, Dan Church Aid, the Global Resilience Partnership, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of the Netherlands, and the Wellcome Trust, I am delighted to welcome you to the Development and Climate Days 2025. As many of you will notice, this year's edition of the Development and Climate Days is taking place online, and this was for a few reasons. The first and most important reason was that many of you will know that historically, the Development and Climate Days have always taken place in the middle weekend of every conference of parties. However, in this conference of parties, the middle weekend is being used for a large mobilization of indigenous peoples groups. And so we did not want to compete with such an important event. The second is many people are not able to travel to the COP this year, and therefore we wanted to be as inclusive as possible. And of course, I think all of us have been talking about the heightened expense of hosting events at this COP. And therefore, in this age of funding scarcity, we want to be as prudent as possible. All right. So just to kick off, I want to first look back very briefly at the Development and Climate Days 2024. Many of you would have attended this fantastic event. It was a grand success. All of us had a fantastic time. We had four themes. One was on decolonizing climate finance, another on the accountability for the Paris goals, a third one on game-changing adaptation ideas, and then we had a few really quirky and interesting out-of-the-box solution sessions. The key takeaways from last year's D&C Days included the need to move together to achieve urgent transformation with an emphasis on action and solutions. The fact that adaptation and resilience absolutely don't require a one-size-fits-all approach to measurement and monitoring and evaluation. The need for understanding diverse perspectives and how this will help formulate complex systems for addressing climate challenges, reshaping climate finance institutions and processes to be more human-centric, adaptive, consistent, and co-created for people, not for specific individual agendas. We also underlined the need for building new meaningful partnerships based on trust, creativity, learning, and equity, and that climate communications should resonate with people's lived experience, capturing the day-to-day realities of how climate change is affecting communities. So that's what happened last year. In this year's edition, we're going to take many of these themes forward, but also add additional issues that we're going to explore. The three key themes for the Development and Climate Days 2025 include the need for scaling locally led approaches to climate action, financing resilience, and innovation for transformation. Under these themes, you're going to hear and experience a large number of speakers under a number of sessions that will focus on topics that include enabling LLA, exploring interagency collaboration, adaptation finance at this time of uncertainty, trust-based grant giving, tactics for philanthropies, grounding the GGA, the Global Goal on Adaptation, in lived and local realities. We're going to explore what role the private sector has to play. And many of these themes are going to come together in three exciting plenaries, one at the opening, which is the one you're all in at the moment, one halfway through the Development and Climate Days, and one at the end of the day. In each of these plenaries, you're going to hear a number of voices exploring a range of issues. Now, it's critical to underline that the Development and Climate Days is intrinsically linked to the COP process. And therefore, many of these themes that are being discussed today link directly with the themes that are going to be discussed at COP and the agendas that are going to be tabled at this COP. This includes climate finance, nature biodiversity, implementation, innovation, equity, and also the themes of the Development and Climate Days align with the agenda and pillars of COP30, which includes a focus on biodiversity, food systems, cities, social development, finance, justice. And so we are very clear that we are enriching and supporting the COP process. And at the end of the day, you're going to hear Dr. Tom Mitchell from IIED in conversation with negotiators who are going to take some of these messages forward at the COP. Okay, with that short introduction, I am going to bore you for a couple of minutes with some housekeeping rules. The first thing that I'd like to mention is that this is a public event, this Development and Climate Days. It is being recorded. We are not operating under Chatham House rules. Comments that you make may be attributed. All recordings will be made publicly available after the event. We are using Zoom for the meeting. So in sessions, participants are automatically muted, but we want to hear from you. Please, please, please engage using the interactive tools available. This includes a chat function, a Q&A function, and we will be, of course, breaking out into smaller groups and do react to what is being said using icons. I'm also delighted to say that we have a graphic reporter who's joined us this morning, and you're going to also hear from Jorge later in the session, later in the day, and he'll be illustrating key points throughout the day. We have note takers capturing key messages that will be shared with you afterwards. And there's also a live blog at the Development and Climate Days portal that I'm hoping someone will put into the chat box as I'm talking. We have scheduled breaks between the sessions, so please use these to use the loo, have a cup of coffee, come back refreshed. If you experience technical difficulties between sessions, please do report them in the chat. We are really committed to creating a respectful, inclusive space, and therefore, in the fine tradition of the Development and Climate Days, I am 100% sure that all of us will engage respectfully. If you witness any issues that perturb you, do please report them in the chat immediately. After this event, we will please return to the agenda page or the live page on the D&C Days platform to pick the next session you would like to join. All right, the formalities are over. Now for the exciting part of the session, I am usually delighted to welcome Phoebe Coco, who's going to honor the D&C Days with an incredible performance. She is a London-based artist and composer. She draws inspiration from natural and urban landscapes into her music. She's also a community and ecological activist. Her writings and performances with trees have been aired on BBC4 Front Row. Phoebe, a very warm welcome to you. Thank you again for giving your precious time to the Development and Climate Days and for joining us today. The floor is yours.
Thank you so much, and it's such an honor to be here. So thank you for the introduction. I am Phoebe Coco, a London-based music artist, and I think that singing and music is a really incredible action, both individually, so we know the benefits, reducing stress, improving cognitive function, and in a group setting, which builds social bonds and boosts our serotonin and endorphins, and we're much more likely to feel happy and hopeful. And hope boosting practice is a big part of my work. I like to think about community building, information sharing, and how we can grow hope to uplift and unite our audiences. So hope, Jane Goodall said, is what enables us to keep going in the face of adversity. And she also said, stories reach the heart better than facts or figures, something which really resonates strongly with me as an artist. And so I tell stories using the arts in my music and in my radio show, the Phoebe Coco Eco Show, which plays music that focuses on environmental themes, and in my public art installations with the Tree Song Project, which is a project that I founded and have run a few times in London boroughs, celebrating trees through music, performance, and installation. In person, I often sing a song, call and response. So I sing and you sing. I thought, as we're on Zoom today, I could invite you to sing along, but in your own spaces, and bring some song into the start of today's conference. The song I'm about to sing now is called Tree Song. I'm going to sing you the song, and at the end, I'll invite a call and response part. So keep your mics muted, but just I invite you to sing at home or at work or wherever you happen to be today. I am singing in a tree with the roots all around. My fingertips are leaves as I move, it sounds. Rustle, rustling in the care of the wind. As you breathe in, I breathe out. We are singing in a tree with our roots all around. Our fingertips are leaves as we move, it sounds. Rustle, rustling in the care of the wind. As you breathe in, we breathe out. We need space to grow, physical and virtual, for our leaves to show, for our leaves to show. We raise our branches high to the ephemeral sky, photosynthesize. We need energy to survive. We are singing in a tree. Connection fails. Try again with your feet. We'll do a small call and response part now. We are singing in a tree. We are singing in a tree. With our roots all around. With our fingertips are leaves. As we move, it sounds. Rustle, rustling in the care of the wind. As you breathe in, we breathe out. Thank you so much. I can see lots of you singing and I can feel it from a distance. So, and I can feel that energy from here. So thank you very much. And it was a pleasure to be here today.
Phoebe, a huge thank you. That was incredibly beautiful and moving. I don't think of a better way to start the Development and Climate Days. In my 20th year in this profession, I'm more and more convinced that real change on climate and development is going to be brought about by um, creative people who communicate in the way that you have with us. So, a huge thank you to you.
Thank you.
Moving swiftly on, I want to hand over now to my colleague Bettina Coel, who's a very senior member of our team at the Climate Center and leads our work on innovation and engagement. And for those of you who've participated in D&C Days in the past, know that the hallmark of the Development and Climate Days is interaction, engagement, collaboration, co-creation. And even though this year's Development and Climate Days are online, we want to continue in that fine tradition. And Bettina is now going to ask all of you to engage with us using an exciting 10 to 15 minute process. Bettina, over to you.
Thank you so much. And what a beautiful way of actually starting Development and Climate Day. So thank you also, Phoebe, for this has been really beautiful. And I hope we've all been singing along and getting into the mind space, because we wanted to start with a bit of a reflection together, saying when we talk about riding the wave of change, what is it that we are experiencing? And I hope Claire, you can post the link for the mirror board in the chat, if possible, because I think we would like to invite you to join this mirror board and share with us. When you think about this as a sailboat, what are the things, quite concrete things, that are the wind in our sails, that carry us forward, that gives us energy? What are some of the things we would rather like to throw overboard? You see, there's a bit of an option to throw off some extra weight that will help us move forward with more lightness, more speed, more enjoyment. And then what are the things you feel are holding us back in this? What are the dangers ahead? You see the rocks on the right side here. And where would you like to go? What is our vision? Where would you like to be eventually? This is the island over here. So you can take any sticky notes, please claim one and type on it. You can zoom in and out here at the bottom. Or you can take a sticky note from these pads here and put them wherever you would like and share your comments freely. We'll leave this open. We'll zoom in a bit and see what some of your thinking is. But please be generous with your comments. If there is no more space, you can put the sticky notes around it. We will take this into the documentation space, of course, for us to really see and learn and hear from all of you to really inspire us how we can navigate these changes that we are facing, and to see the silver lining and say, how can also these challenges be possible opportunities for all of us? I see we have some wind in the sail activity happening. If you're joining from your phone and you can't join the mirror board, I will zoom in a little bit so we can actually see some of the cards, some of the sticky notes being posted here. And we have some coming in, the urgency and demonstrating impact, wind in our sails, systemic action and kindness, collaboration and shared learnings, civil society movements, wind in our sails, community across time and space, collaboration. Fantastic, keep them coming. We also have a couple of things we want to throw overboard. Competition, percenters, politicizing of solution, competition between us, injustice of polarization. I really like the candidness of these sticky notes, so keep them coming. They are anonymous, and while we are not having Chatham House rules, this mirror board is anonymous. So please feel free to add your sticky notes as we go along. I see some anchors that are holding us back. Current financial systems, finances, self-satisfied decision makers, risk adversity and lack of trust with local partners, fossil fuel lobbying and industrial military complex, harmful subsidies, inaction, lack of funding. And yeah, you can, of course, also, if you like a note that is already there, you can right-click on it and add a heart under the emojis here. Great. Fantastic. Let's look at where the obstacles lie in the future. We have a couple here that are lying ahead of us. More funding cuts planned in 2026. Climate fatalism, fracturing geopolitics and populism politics, shrinking democratic space and the shutting down of civil society and social movements. Fatigue and exhaustion of pushing the rock up the hill in parallel with increasing disasters. Corruption, power politics, politics crossing all tipping points. Yeah, a lot of rocks for us to negotiate. And let's look at the positive vision. Where would we like to get to? Meaningful inclusion, an equitable, just world with climate and nature thriving, deeper connections with nature around us, inclusion, greater trust between us, between funders and recipients, end of capitalism and fossil fuel-driven society, ambitious targets, grants, not loans, a healthy planet, meeting pledges and new pledges and grants, equitability, climate justice, more inclusion. Amazing to see your thoughts. Please keep them coming. If you want more sticky notes, you can move them from the notepads on the side. And I think it's a really nice way of grounding our discussions for today to say, how can we really balance in our discourse the appreciation for what is driving things forward, a clear vision of where we want to go, while being extremely mindful of the dangers that are lying ahead, the challenges that we are facing, and also the possible opportunities of like throwing off baggage that we think we don't need to carry on as we move forward. Thank you so much. I see some more activity, but I think we can leave this Miro board open also a little bit. And Aditya, I can hand over to you to take us through the next segment while we still have some sticky notes appearing here that we can reflect on. And we'll document this, of course, in the notes.
Wonderful, Bettina. Thank you so much for this exciting exercise. I think all of us know that the D&C Days is taking place at a pretty strange time for the kind of work that we do. And I think some of those anxieties are reflected in this exercise, but also some of the opportunities and the reasons for optimism. A big thank you to also Harm, if I'm not mistaken, right? Bettina, correct me if I'm wrong, who's drawn the sailboat?
Yes.
Harm and Eugenia, who've drawn the sailboat for us, who we are going to meet later today. Okay, to keep the show on the road, we're going to move on to our next very exciting segment, where we're going to hear from some of the people who've been closely involved in structuring the Development and Climate Days, in thinking about what we should be talking about. And we've decided to not do this as a panel discussion, but what I thought was I would ask the three of them to interview each other and really ask them to sell you why all of you should be coming to the themes, to the sessions under the themes that they're representing, why you are not going to be bored through the day, who are the exciting speakers you're going to listen to, what are the new experiences that you're going to have, and how your mind will be broadened as a result of engaging with the themes that they're talking to. So I am delighted to welcome Trish O'Brien, who's the policy advisor for climate and health at the Wellcome Trust. I'm also delighted to welcome Lillian Halai Mula from Dan Church Aid and May Thazine Ong, senior researcher with IIED's Climate Change Research Group, who are going to grill each other over the next 10 to 15 minutes. And hopefully convince you all that all the three themes are hugely exciting. I am handing over to Trish.
Thank you so much. And it was really great to see those ideas coming through on the Miro board. I'm really excited for the day and to hear all the ideas that are coming through. I am going to first ask my question to May, who is covering the innovation theme today, which I'm really excited to hear all the kind of ideas coming out of that. So May, what exactly can we expect from the innovation sessions that are being hosted today?
Great. So the innovation session is going to be about innovation, but we'll approach it from different angles. So we have two different sessions. One is called Financing Adaptation Finance in Uncertain Times. It's in the morning. It's called 3A. And then the second one is called Taming the Beast, Exploring Interagency Collaboration for Resilience. So the interagency one is about looking at innovation and collaboration within agencies. And then the second one is about looking at how climate funds, different types of climate funders, from government to philanthropies to banks, are looking at how they are innovating in these times of uncertainty with the different constraints in finance that the development sector is facing, and also the constraints in the political landscape. So that's how we're going to look at innovation.
Oh, that sounds really exciting. It sounds like there's lots of different organizations and different institutes involved, which is, I suppose, critical to making innovative ideas come to life. Is there anything you're most kind of excited about hearing from, or specific ideas that you're really looking into for the day?
I think I'm really excited about the diversity of speakers that we have in both of the sessions. So we have climate funders from different perspectives, and we also have interagency collaboration where the Red Cross will talk about how they are innovating within their own agencies. And another pitch I'll make is the sessions themselves are really innovative. So we'll play games. We'll also have a reverse panel in one of the sessions. So it's a really good way for the audience, all of you, to be engaged in our sessions and come with questions for our speakers.
That's really cool. I've never heard of a reverse panel before. But yeah, what is a reverse panel? And then I'll hand over to you to ask the next question.
Okay, a reverse panel is basically where the audience designs the questions in a breakout room, distills them, and then asks them to the panel. So instead of a structured panel where the session host has designed the sessions, you come to us with questions and we ask the speakers. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. Okay, shall I ask the question to Lillian now, who's been patiently sitting? So Lillian, what's in store for your theme, and what are you most excited about?
Yeah, thank you, May. And it was like, I agree, really exciting listening to you take us through the innovation theme. Absolutely. But yeah, finance is even hotter because that is what is on the heels with just a few days to cope. Everywhere you turn, I mean, people are talking about tripling of adaptation funding, new pledges, private money, blended money, and shrinking budgets. But for the development and climate days, the financing resilience theme will be unpacked from a very creative, new, and engaging angle. But what do I mean by this? We won't be chasing conversations about bigger numbers because everyone has been talking about bigger numbers. We will be flipping the script a little bit and having conversations about chasing better results. Because right now the challenge is not just in getting more money into the system, but making sure that this money reaches the right places at the right time in ways that actually build resilience. So yeah, one, the theme will creatively explore how funders can keep adaptation money flowing, even when the world feels scattered and unpredictable. And essentially, and this is where the cream of the financing resilience theme is at, our theme will be connecting people making the funding decisions with the people living the outcomes. So we'll get real about what happens when money actually reaches the ground. This theme is where actually money meets meaning. We will be flipping the script to connect both ends of the chain and asking the big question, how do we make climate finance not just bigger, but better, and maybe even a little bit braver? So yeah, I'm excited because it will not take a panel form, and we will also not have anything to do with presentation. We will allow the people we have on board to communicate through storytelling. And that's why I loved the opening session where we had music, because then it spoke closely to the financing resilience session, as we will be using a lot of arts in our session. Yeah, so I don't want to preempt a lot. You just have to be there in order to experience the actual thing. Yeah.
Oh,
Thanks.
that's really great to hear. I'm excited about your sessions. And I think one of the things you highlight is creativity as a theme that runs throughout the day, starting with Phoebe, but also looking at how we can have different creative approaches to deal with the uncertainties in this current world that we're living in. And I also like that you highlighted not just the quantity of finance, but the quality of finance, the effectiveness of it, and also how you're using D&C Days as a platform to bring together the climate funders in dialogue with the people who are receiving the funds, the communities on the ground, which is the real spirit of D&C Days. Okay, is there anything else you want to pitch that you haven't already? Why won't people be bored in any of your sessions?
People will definitely not be bored. Like, as you can see, I'm young. I'm not saying I'm Gen Z, but we all know where there's new, younger people, there's a lot of creativity, but also real conversations. So yeah, you just need to come there, but there'll be something really great, like a WhatsApp extracted conversation of how things happen. So WhatsApp chats, which we've just extracted, that will be starting us off in video form. Yeah, you just need to be there to experience it, really.
I
Yeah,
love it.
thank
I
you.
love the energy that you bring. Okay, I'll hand it over to you now because Trish has been patiently waiting.
Absolutely. Thank you again, May, and thank you, Trish, for starting us off. Close to the heart of finance is the local people, and I think even as we approach COP, it's the people that are the center, especially the local communities. And I know this is what your theme is about. So just walk us through this and tell us what is different, what is new, because everyone has been talking about localization everywhere. Tell us what is different
Thanks
from
so
your
much.
theme.
And I feel like there's so much hype here. I feel like, yeah, I think someone said in the chat they wish they could clone themselves. I feel like I need a doppelganger somewhere. Online today. But I suppose we all know that the impacts of climate change are really, really context specific. They differ across nations, but more importantly, between and within regions and communities. And this is definitely the case, for example, when we talk about the health impacts of climate change. You know, it's the climate sensitive infectious disease risks are so different across countries within regions. The different climate impacts are experienced differently in mountainous regions and regions which are experiencing extreme heat. And I feel like we all kind of know, as you said, Lillian, that to successfully adapt, adaptation needs to be context specific and more importantly locally led. But like, what does that actually mean and in practice, and what does delivery and implementation look like? And I feel like the delivery question for locally led adaptation is often something that's missing in a very conceptual conversation. So therefore, I think the locally led adaptation theme today really drills down on some key actionable examples of what locally led adaptation looks like in real life. It really gets to the bones of how we can realize and actually deliver it across kind of three really exciting sessions. One covering kind of more solution focused, nationally led action, one looking at finance. And as you said, Lillian, finance is really, really the hot topic right now, as well as accountability. So really covering kind of across that policy cycle. And it's also kind of getting to the nitty gritty barriers of how we can what's happening on the ground already can be translated into action and be replicated as well. You know, we have some amazing examples going to be coming through the sessions today, and I'll kind of run through them very, very briefly as well here. But you know, we have the first session on locally led adaptation straight after the plenary, so I know where everyone should be going then. It will be focusing on the real crux of it, what are existing national delivery mechanisms to deliver locally led adaptation, and what criteria makes them work and not work. And we'll be hearing some from incredible representations from the governments of Uganda and Kenya on actionable examples of what it looks like to actually get finance from national governments to local communities. And what I'm really excited about in that session is there's going to be some really great speakers from the Life AR process as well as locale, and they'll be covering exactly kind of what's happening already and how we can take this forward in other locations. Straight after the lunchtime plenary today, we have another kind of financing session, really looking at what trust-based grant giving looks like, and how to get finance into the hands of local communities. And that's often a big barrier to deliver locally led adaptation. And it looks like what what happens when funders can really lean into local principles, as well as like supporting and trusting grassroots organizations to deliver that financing on the ground. So I'm really, really excited about that session. I think it'll be a great pick me up after lunch as well. So have some food and then come to that one. And then the final session, we're going to be at the talk of the town, which is a core deliverable for COP30, which is the global goal and adaptation. The world local isn't in the global goal and adaptation, as you can hear from the name. But this session will explore the critical role of local and national actors to actually make the GGA a success and a usable process to deliver real-time action on the ground. It will kind of look like essentially how I think how we need a core message coming from COP that local and national actors need to be really at the heart of how the GGA is implemented and delivered. And we'll be hearing from people who are doing that already. You know, we have Sasha from Climate Analytics going to be speaking about what they're doing in the Caribbean already, and how the GGA is they're trying to make a local GGA for them. And we have some in implementing agencies like UNDR also showing like how they can get lessons learned as well. So really excited for that session. Sorry, maybe a bit too excited. I maybe went on for so long, but I'll pass back to you, Lillian.
Thank you. I feel like you've covered everything and the homework is now on me. I'm just like, okay, what is the other thing that I need to ask her? But yeah, take us through the mode of delivery. We had me bringing in a new terminology where it is the participants who will actually be the one calling the shot. So what's it with your mode of delivery that should make us come to that your session?
Come to our sessions. I think some of the sessions will be very much listening from some experts as well, and really kind of getting some core messages going into COP, which I think will be really critical, and also giving colleagues a chance to kind of ask those questions as well. Some of them will be quite conversational. So I know the session on national mechanisms will really kind of get to the detail of what's happening on the ground. And I think what I am really excited about and how these conversations are going to be led is kind of the practicality of the sessions as well, and hearing from the diverse actors of okay, so this is happening at the global stage, but like how can we bring that through, and kind of that really roadmap from the global to the local, and the story that's being told through the sessions to the day is something which I'm really looking forward to.
Thank you so much. Trish, Aditya, over to you, or give us the direction.
I think we have a few
Wonderful.
5 minutes left, Aditya. Do we?
Yes, so yeah, I think we do. So I was thinking of usurping those and grilling you, you three, because you were too nice to each other. So I want to abuse the moderator's privilege and ask you a couple of quick questions. So I'm going to ask you a really difficult one to start with. If the three of you were to pick one session that you're really looking out for, it doesn't need to be a session from your theme. Stop selling your themes now. Pick your favorite child and tell us why. Can we have the three back on? Yes, please. Thank you.
I can go first if you want.
Go.
So I'm hosting the last session of the day, the GGA session. So I'm not going to pick that because I think that will be biased, and I think everyone should go to that session. But I also am really excited about the session straight after plenary today, and I think that's the one I'm going to be listening out to more, because I feel like it's something that I'm just not familiar with in the same way. I'm very much kind of a global climate gal. So I'm really looking forward to kind of drilling into the national mechanisms and hearing more about the Life AR programs, the local programs, and understanding what it really looks like for national governments to really get financing
Fantastic.
and support into the hands of local communities.
Fantastic. May?
Okay,
Pick one.
so I have so many ideas, but I really am looking forward to the session 5A called Trust-Based Grant Giving, because I think trust-based grant giving comes up a lot as a jargony thing that we throw around, but we don't really know what it means to do trust-based grant giving. And this session is going to be hosted by the Kamwan Network and IED, and we have a number of grassroots organizations that are really doing trust-based grant giving because they are building on the relationships that they have with their communities, and they've been doing it for ages. So there's a lot to learn on the practicalities of grant giving from those sessions. So I'm keen to hear about those.
Wonderful. Lillian?
Yeah, like how do you tell a mother to pick a favorite child? Like my mom had 6. Maybe you ask her to pick one. You're bringing issues in the house. So I'll still pick on the financing session, because I honestly believe that we've been hearing conversations about quantity a lot, and the landscape is shifting, and we need to deal with the new reality. And with the new reality, we will be focusing more. It's time to focus more on the quality of finance. So I honestly believe it will be a new angle to look at things, and maybe the case we need to make in order to make progress at the COPs and
Wonderful.
beyond. So that would be it. But also I think the sessions on locally led adaptation would be fantastic as well, because we need to hear what is actually happening on the ground, because a lot is really happening on the
Great.
ground. So it will be interesting to hear from the horse's mouth themselves. Thanks.
All right, Lillian, thanks. Now the second question is, which session are you going to avoid like the plague? No, I'm joking. We don't want to hear that. So a huge thank you to the three of you for defending your themes and plugging them so successfully. It all sounds really exciting. I'll have a hard time picking the sessions that I'm going to go to. I'd encourage all our audience members to please give our panelists a round of applause using the reaction button at the bottom of the screen. And as you do that, we're going to play a very quick game. We've already started seeing people introducing themselves in the chat. So what we're going to do now is do a chat rant. Some of you who may have attended these kinds of sessions online might know what a chat rant is, but essentially what I'd like you to do is go to the chat box on the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. Make sure that the blue bit just above the chat box is selected for everyone. Maybe that is actually the default. So you're communicating with everyone. Then I want you to type the name of the country where you're joining us from today in the chat box, but don't press send. Press send when I tell you to press send in one go. All of us, the 130 of us on this call, will press send together. So we'll get a big explosion of a picture of the countries from which everyone is joining. Has everyone understood? Go to the chat box in the bottom right hand corner of your screen, type the name of the country that you're joining us from, but don't press enter yet. I will count down to 10, and then please press enter at 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Press enter, press enter, press enter. Whoa! Mongolia, Mozambique, India, Sweden, Turkey, Romania, Bangladesh, Spain, Thailand. What an incredible global community is represented on the call today. I'm so proud to be part of Development Climate Days, and I thank all of you for joining at weird time zones for many of you. This is really incredible. Jorge, rich material for you to represent in your graphical note-taking is the incredibly wide global spread of the people joining us at the D&C Days. All right, with that, as some of you continue to tell us about the countries that you're from, I'm going to hand over the mic for a few minutes to Jorge Martin. Again, a huge thank you, Jorge, for being with us today. You're going to be the graphical note taker for the day. Tell us what that means, tell us what you will be doing, and tell us when we'll hear from you.
Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Okay, so it's nice to be here. I am a graphic recorder or a scribe or an illustrator, or the way I describe my role sometimes is being a fly on the wall. So I'm a fly, a virtual fly on the wall. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be listening very carefully. I'm going to be taking notes, and I'm going to do my best to try to capture the key ideas, the key conversations of today. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm a bit nervous. I've been doing this for 12 years, but I still feel this slight sense of nervousness every time I undertake something like this. I feel this responsibility to make sure that I capture key messages for you. And I started working with D&C Days in 2015. That was at the COP that took place in Lima. And I've been working with these guys for a few years. And then I'm not sure what happened. I guess partly funding decline or funding cuts or COVID. I hadn't been part of this for a while, but I'm glad to be back. Where else? That's it, really. It's nice to be here virtually, and I'm looking forward to what happens today. And
Wonderful.
I'll be okay. So what is this going to look like? So I started drawing some things and taking some notes, and I will be doing a recap of the morning at the session, the plenary after lunch, first thing after lunch.
And Jorge, you're coming back to us in the closing plenary to report back.
And at the end of the day as well. Yeah.
So a note to all, don't miss the closing plenary. It's going to begin with Jorge talking us through the graphical notes that he's taken. So you might see yourself represented or your thoughts represented in the work that Jorge is going to present. All right, I think that takes us right to the end of this opening plenary. It's been really exciting. We've been on a sailboat. We've heard people interviewing each other. We've learned what a reverse panel is. And it's going to be a really exciting day. I urge all of you to think big, to connect with each other, have those difficult conversations, but from a place of empathy, trust, and respect. And let's cherish that this is an extremely valuable community. And mostly, let's make sure that the spirit of the D&C Days that was initiated by Salimul Haq is carried through. Do remember that this day was meant to fly the flag of adaptation and resilience high at every COP. It was meant to highlight the issues of the most vulnerable who are on the front lines of the battle of against climate change. So let's keep that front and center as we go through the different sessions today. All right, so the next two sessions will start in 10 minutes from now, and they are session 2A and 2B. 2A is real-world decentralization, national mechanisms to enable LLA, hosted by Life AR and the World Bank. And session 2B, which is taming the beast, exploring interagency collaboration for resilience, hosted by the Red Cross Red Crescent Climate Center. See you all there in 10 minutes. Bye for now.